Does the chippiness in this series favor Houston or Golden State?
I'm going to still say it favors Golden State because Ime Udoka, who Eminem we both consider one of the great coaches in the NBA today. Ime Udoka is special. He's the right man for the job. I think he's going to lead the Houston Rockets to a championship someday in the very near future. But I don't like that comment that he gave because you're making yourself more of a target for the NBA when they don't want that. There will be moments when they don't want that. And then all of a sudden you're going to find yourself in a situation where calls are going against you because you proclaim this is who you are. No, they ain't going for that. Like when you look at Jalen Green and what he did yesterday, yeah, it was some acting on the part of Draymond Green, no doubt about that. But that doesn't negate the fact that it warranted the flagrant against Jalen Green that he received, because why are you throwing that elbow? You got to think about that. Amen Thompson and how he undercut Jimmy Butler, that was not intentional. He got pushed in them. We understand that. But the point is that come playoff time, particularly against a great shooter and finesse player like a Steph Curry, and a great coach like Steve Kerr, and a great facilitator like Draymond Green, who know how to put Steph Curry or assist Steph Curry in being in the best situations to really, really exploit the opposition. What are you going to do against Steph Curry? Molly, I'm saying this, and Eminem, if I've never been more sure in my life that you'll agree with what I'm about to say. I don't know if there is a player on the planet, that is more inclined to have people want to be physical with them than Steph Curry. Because he's such a great shooter, and he's such a great player, and he's such a great ball handler. Sometimes you find it impossible to stop him. You just want to hurt him. You just want to hurt him because you think that's the only way you can stop him. So when you're the opposition and you say that's what we do, at some point in time in the postseason, that verbiage could work against you. That's my issue.
Okay, I agree. People, how do you make Steph Curry uncomfortable? First thing is to be as physical as possible, but that means you got to keep up. So I'm actually on the other side of this. Okay. And hear me out, I say.
Sure.
I think to the first part of what we just heard from Ime Udoka, Houston has to be true to who they are and how they earned that number 2 seed.
Okay.
And so I think leaning in may not necessarily be the right word, but I think standing 10 toes down in who you've been is a vote of confidence in terms of how we got here. Okay. I don't necessarily think that means that they are actually trying to go out there and start a fight and make illegal plays. And I could kind of sit here and slow play-by-play how the Jalen Green thing maybe ended up being more than it was initially supposed to be. But I'm not saying that I think these guys are about to go and be dirty. But I do think when you have someone on the other side who, as talented as he is, his personality and demeanor is a part of the package deal when you insert the passing ability and playmaking ability and rebounding of Draymond Green. When you run up against a younger group that largely doesn't seem to be phased, I think this is playing a little bit into the Rockets' favor in terms of their confidence. Now, when it comes down to it, the chippiness is not why this series will or will not be won. You're going to have to play better basketball than the Warriors because who they have on the other side, especially if Jimmy Butler is available the rest of the way. But to me, this is just allowing the Rockets to be who they are. And they, as a young group, they can't switch up. Ime is right about that. This is not the time for them to switch up. And so that's one of their strengths, and it has been all season.
Yeah, I think the thing you're missing respectfully is that you're talking about what they do. I'm talking about what you're saying. And the reason I'm talking about what you're saying is because we never know when there's been plenty of games throughout NBA history where we look at something, we like this, and man, I hope they let them play. I hope they ain't going to call this game too tight.
Yeah.
You understand? Especially with Steph Curry on the floor. And that's one of those things. And if you're Ime Udoka, who lost to Steph Curry in the NBA Finals when he was coaching the Boston Celtics, you know that all too well yourself. So why say it? I understand doing it, no problem.
But don't draw eyeballs to it. All right,
don't do that.
Let's stay in the West, guys. Game. Oh, go ahead, Monica.
Well, I just think anytime you got a series with Draymond, the officials are being mindful of chippiness at large. So I don't think this is breaking news, but I hear where you're coming from, S.A.
Yes, I just think that Draymond is one thing. The Rockets are another. They're young.
Game 3 of the Nuggets-Clippers tips off tonight with both teams hoping to take a command of the series. Steve suffering a pelvis contusion. He's scheduled to undergo an MRI in San Francisco on Thursday. Our girl, Monica McNutt, joining us now. Monica, top of the morning to you, lady. We'll get you in just a second.
What the hell is in that background? What kind of ceiling you? I mean, what?
He's in a
It's
hotel.
art.
I was like, Lord, that okay. I thought,
Beautiful photograph that I have only
right.
enhanced with my presence in the center.
All right, I understand. I was just wondering. I just saw the background. What the hell's going on? Where's she at? Where's she at?
I feel inspired by that art, Monica. So they tell me this: are the Warriors done without Butler at 100%?
Well, I think that it's going to be very, very tough for them to beat Houston. I wouldn't say definitively that they're done because Houston can be very sporadic offensively. Defensively, they'll bring it. But offensively, it's problematic for them to score at times. And anytime that's an issue for you, you can get beat. So I wouldn't say it's a foregone conclusion without Butler that they would win this series. But I would elevate them to being the favorites to win the series if Butler can't go, which I believe ultimately he will be able to go. Here's what I would tell you if Butler was going. Even if Golden State did get past the first round, you going home next round. I mean, you ain't winning. You ain't beating the Lakers or Minnesota without Jimmy Butler if you're the Golden State Warriors. That I would tell you. With Jimmy Butler, you could be going to the conference finals. Without him, you could go home in the first round, but you definitely be going home in the semifinals. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm with you, SA. This is a big deal. I mean, there's two reasons that you think, oh, goodness, this is bad. One, if Jimmy Butler is out, they have traded away anybody that would have been able to potentially step in, right? And so you're literally looking at a depleted roster. Second, and we saw this last night, and our terrific sports and information group put out great numbers about this, but without Jimmy Butler on the floor, Stephen Curry was defended by 1.6 players per shot, right? So basically, the Rockets were able to send nearly the double team. But that is important to note because it's the most that he's seen that sort of volume in a playoff game under Steve Kerr. And so the Rockets defense has the type of athletes, has the scheme that they can really make life difficult on Stephen Curry. And without a true creator in Jimmy Butler, like that load is just going to be so persistent and consistent. Now, as you have pointed out, Stephen A., Stephen Curry is the best shooter that God has ever created.
There we go.
So I am not going to rule out something unfathomable happening, but I'm looking at the degree of difficulty if Stephen Curry has to carry this, not only the nature of game to game, but also the nature of the series, as he has had to navigate some aches and pains and bumps and bruises down the stretch of his career. You look at that Rockets group, they are largely young, healthy, and they play with a tremendous amount of energy on the other side. So this could be big time problematic.
It could be a big time problem, but I just don't see Jimmy Butler being able to walk off the basketball court. He's just a guy. I mean, the worst case scenario is that I see him missing game 3. That's the worst case scenario. Well, I can't see him being out longer than that. Not Jimmy Butler. He's just too rough. He's just too tough.
Monica?
I just don't see it.
Yeah, I agree. If he can go, he's going to go. But then I guess the next level of this question is like, what percentage of Jimmy Butler do you need? And even last night, to be fair, I think it was a dozen at one point in the fourth quarter. The Warriors were in striking distance, even though all the numbers bear out that they barely survived the time that Steph Curry wasn't on the floor last night.